It was a January morning in Newport News, Virginia, when first-grade teacher Abigail Werner was shot in her classroom. The gun fired by her 6-year-old student. The bullet tore through her hand and chest, leaving her fighting for her life and a nation stunned. Now Werner is suing the assistant principal, claiming she ignored multiple warnings that the child had a gun that day. Tonight, the shocking body cam video. But first, 9-year-old Maya Kowalski's story began as a medical mystery and became a courtroom reckoning. In 2016, the Florida child was taken to Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in Tampa after suffering excruciating pain linked to complex regional pain syndrome. But when her mother, Beta, insisted on a rare ketamine treatment prescribed by another doctor, the staff suspected abuse, and the state removed Maya from her family's custody. For 87 agonizing days, she was held away from her parents until Beta's tragic death by suicide shattered her family's world. Years later, Maya and her father took their fight to court, accusing the hospital of false imprisonment and emotional trauma. The jury's verdict, $213 million. This wasn't just compensation, it was vindication. But tonight, a shocking development as the appellate court rescues the hospital and throws out the verdict. What now for Maya and her family? I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. You know, every day when we get ready to figure out what we're going to cover tonight, and especially in this hour, we don't know. This one came out of left field, was not expecting it. Let's go back. Let's go back to Take Care of Maya. It was a docuseries on Netflix, extremely popular, and put the story of Maya Kowalski into the public sphere. And a lot of people base their feelings and opinions about that case and that story on the Netflix series, which a lot of people do these days. But there was a trial that was covered by us right here on Court TV down in Tampa. And I watched the trial. You watched the trial. We all watched this trial. And whether people's opinions changed or didn't, I'm not sure. But I know my opinion of what happened to Maya Kowalski is based upon what I saw and heard in the trial. And what I saw and heard in the trial was a young woman whose life was not what it should have been when she was a child, ripped apart from her family. And I also got a sense that people didn't want to hear, people didn't want to listen. People made up their minds very quickly about what was going on. And what I saw, and I think the jury agreed with what I saw, because there was a $260 million verdict that was reduced to $213 million. I think what the jury saw is the same thing that I saw, which was a hospital that was not necessarily thinking about first, do no harm. Because there was harm being done to this girl who was ripped from her family while in excruciating pain. We saw and heard all of that during the course of this trial. And the people spoke, like I said. The people, when I say the people, it's the jurors. Like, that's the point of a trial, is there's a claim being made, and we allow the people to make the decision, a jury. And overwhelmingly, the jury sent a message to the hospital that you didn't do the right thing here. This family was victimized by your conduct and your behavior. 260 was the number. Again, reduced to 200. That's a huge verdict. That's a huge message. It couldn't be any clearer. But it's our system of justice. Just like on the criminal side, where people, when they lose, they can appeal. You lose, you appeal. And what's happened now is that the judges have overturned the people, right? Whatever the jury thought about the case, whatever they thought about the facts, that's gone. That's completely erased. It's as if what they determined no longer matters. That's the result of all this. So it's a little bit of a convoluted situation. I want to make it really clear. So take a listen. Court TV digital producer Lauren Silver has been following this case and has the latest from that decision from the appeals court for us tonight.
Maya Kowalski and her family filed a lawsuit in October 2018 claiming intentional infliction of emotional distress, wrongful death, and wrongful imprisonment against Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital after she said their treatment led to her mother's suicide in 2017 when Maya was just 10 years old. So Maya suffers from a neuropathic disease called complex regional pain syndrome, known as CPRS, and she had been receiving experimental high-dose ketamine treatments. When she was admitted to the hospital, doctors suspected she was actually the victim of abuse, and when her mother, Beata Kowalski, pushed for ketamine treatment, they accused Beata of making her daughter ill. This case got national attention in part because of a Netflix documentary, and also because we here at Court TV covered this suit from gavel to gavel. The jury found the hospital's decision to isolate Maya from her family and prevent her from having any contact with her did directly lead to Beata's suicide. But now an appeals court has struck down the jury's verdict. That jury awarded the family more than $250 million, and that was struck down immediately to $213.5 million. But now a Florida appeals court has struck down the entire verdict and says the hospital is nearly fully immune from legal action. The appeals judges cited a Florida law in saying that because the Department of Children and Families had ordered the hospital to take custody of Maya after that abuse complaint, the department itself carried the sole liability, and the hospital was only following directives. Under that logic, the appeals court ruled that most of the Kowalski family's claims were dismissed. So the judges said there can be a new trial, but only on the remaining issues for which the hospital is not immune. So that includes the claims of intentional infliction of emotional distress for Maya, as well as battery and medical negligence. Vinnie, back to you.
So they can retry the case, but not on all the claims that they had first time around. Bottom line, you put this in front of a jury, and if the testimony is anything like it was first time around, you may very well have a similar result, even though there are a reduced number of claims in all this. Here's a response from the family attorney for the Kowalskis, Nicholas Whitney. We're disappointed by the decision, but the Kowalskis will persevere. Judge Smith's concurring opinion emphasized Johns Hopkins' outrageous actions towards Maya, and the next jury will see things just like the first one did. Johns Hopkins was in charge of caring for and treating Maya. Instead, they exploited their position with full knowledge that Maya, a 10-year-old child, would not be able to endure such outrageous conduct. We're also hearing tonight from Johns Hopkins Hospital. After careful, rigorous review of the case and the law, the Second District Court of Appeals delivered a resounding opinion in support of Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, vacating the full $213 million judgment. The opinion sends a clear and vital message to mandatory reporters in Florida and across the country that their duty to report suspicions of child abuse and, critically, their good faith participation in child protection activities remain protected. The facts and the law have always prioritized protecting children, the most vulnerable among us. We look forward to vigorously defending our doctors, nurses, and staff in a fair trial on the few remaining claims after rigorous and proper application of immunity. We thank the judges for their time and attention to this matter, and we appreciate that they understood what many did not, that a one-sided movie is no substitute for a fair judicial process. That's from Ethan Shapiro of Hill Ward Henderson. Well, it wasn't a one-sided movie. The jury didn't see the movie. The jury saw a trial like I did. All right, I want to bring in a special guest joining us, author and journalist Andrea Dunlop, who's been following the case closely. She's also the co-host and creator of Nobody Should Believe Me podcast. And we wanted to speak to someone from the hospital. They referred us to you. Andrea, so let me start here. What's your take and your view on the Kowalskis, on Maya?
Yeah, well, the overwhelming evidence in this case that did not get presented in the film is that Maya Kowalski's life was almost certainly saved by the interventions of these doctors. Beata Kowalski was subjecting her to these extremely dangerous ketamine treatments, and when they refused to give her those treatments at the hospital, she said that she would go ahead and put Maya Kowalski, who was then, a young child, on hospice care so that she could finally die. And the reality is, Maya is alive because of these interventions. And so this appellate decision is a massive win. Not only for mandatory reporters, it is a massive vindication of the doctors who did the right thing in this case, and it is a massive win for those of us who believe that children deserve to be safe in their homes.
And what are your thoughts about the diagnosis of CPRS that she had?
CRPS, well, I covered that extensively on the show. I believe that diagnosis is extremely suspicious because it came about because Beata Kowalski spoke to another parent on a forum and then sought out the diagnosis with Dr. Kirkpatrick, who was presented as a credible doctor in the film, but certainly is not. I have some upcoming coverage on him. His ketamine treatments that he offers for children are way outside of what should be considered acceptable by any medical doctor.
Do you think there was any obligation because the way it played out in court from the testimony, right? Not from the series, from the testimony in the courtroom, was that it seemed that the people connected to the hospital and social services, which were really connected, they weren't separated. And that also troubled me, that they were in bed with one another, right? But that's a separate issue. That there was a lack of, they made up their mind very quickly, and there was nothing that could change their mind, and there was no way around it. And I'm wondering if there should have been perhaps a little more of a dialogue, a little more open-mindedness on the part of the hospital to do a little more investigating before taking a 9-year-old, 10-year-old away from her family.
Well, I would very much challenge the idea that this was a snap decision. Fortunately, you had an experienced child abuse pediatrician working on this case, Dr. Sally Smith. And again, there was a threat to Maya's life in this case. I don't know that people completely understand that because their understanding of Munchausen by proxy abuse is very low in general. However, when you have a parent that is threatening to put a child on hospice, I just covered a case on my show, the case of Colin McDaniel. There was another case in Colorado, Olivia Gant. That is an end game. That is where children die in these cases when their parents decide to. And much of the evidence, the Judge Carroll made a decision halfway through the trial, which, as the appellate court confirmed today, this case never should have gone before a jury. That was part of their ruling, that the directed verdicts that the hospital asked for to not take these things to court should have been granted. And, the only reason this ended up in this verdict is because a series of errors on behalf of the trial court and Judge Carroll, one of which, in my opinion, is that halfway through the trial, he said that Munchausen by proxy and the evidence of the abuse that this child was suffering was somehow no longer relevant to the case. And so the hospital was not permitted to present to this jury the evidence of, Beata's lengthy blog about her daughter's, in her daughter's voice, where she was talking constantly about how she was going to die, about how she wanted to die. And, irrespective of whether the CRPS diagnosis is legitimate, that is not a fatal condition. Although I will tell you that some people who have seen Dr. Kirkpatrick have died. So this child was in very real danger. And I want to say, too, that I am genuinely thinking about Maya Kowalski and Kyle Kowalski today. It has been awful that they have been dragged through this ordeal by their father and asked to relive the worst moments of their life over and over and over again throughout their teenage years. And I genuinely so hope for them healing and peace in the wake of this.
Andrea Dunlop, Nobody Should Believe Me, the podcast. We always want every side of every story, and I thank you so much for presenting that tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right, folks, when we come back, They are ready to go, locked and loaded, live in studio, our think tank, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, a courthouse turned crime scene, a judge losing his life, and a sheriff in handcuffs. What led to the shocking moment when law and order collided inside chambers meant for justice? Tonight, we investigate.
I ended up asking him if he loved me. He said, I don't know. I said, do you love her? He said, I don't know.
That set you off?
Someone was stabbed?
Yes, she's on the floor.
I didn't have the intent to kill Sarah. I really just wanted to scare them.
It looks more like fury than fear. Did you kill Sarah to possess what she had with Josh?
Sorry.
Interview with a Killer. New episode Saturday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific. Only on Court TV.
Did it strike you, or does it strike you at any time, how serious it is to take a 9-year-old girl away from her family?
Well, yes, definitely. I heard and saw on numerous occasions the mother demanding from the doctors that the child be given amounts of ketamine. 95% of the time that I saw Maya was up in her wheelchair, and the times that she would report extraordinary pain would be when she was prompted by her mother, or if somebody asked her if she was having pain.
That's the social worker, Kathy Beatty. I want to play for you Maya Kowalski. I think it's important that we hear from her firsthand. Her testimony, obviously crucial in convincing a jury to award her $260 million. Let's take a listen.
Because I couldn't walk or anything, I had to have help using the bathroom. And I remember, it's quite embarrassing, but my dad was helping me clean up, and a doctor came in, or so I thought, a doctor, because I knew it looked like a doctor because all of them wear this like white lab coat, and then there's colored squares across their chest. Usually there's like a name embroidered in, but I didn't see that on her. So I assumed she was a doctor. She came in very briefly, and it was awkward because here I am, naked from the bottom down after using the restroom, and she's asking my dad questions, and then she left the room.
And did you subsequently find out who that was?
Later, I found out it was Sally Smith.
Did anyone from the hospital differentiate Sally Smith from any of the other doctors that you were seeing that day?
Absolutely not.
Was your mom explaining the symptoms?
She always did. I mean, that was pretty routine. She had to do that for almost every visit. There wasn't ever a specific time where I saw the doctors and nurses ask my mom to leave. It was only because this was the day that she had to go to work, and that was my last conversation with her. Whereas with my dad, I vividly remember people coming in and telling him that this was his last time to say goodbye to me.
So was this the last time you saw your mom?
The last time I saw my mom, my dad wasn't there. I was laying in the bed.
This was while you're in your room. Did you go?
Still in the PICU.
Still in the PICU?
Still in the PICU, yes.
So this is pretty close to when you checked in?
Yes.
Got admitted?
Yes. I know I was still in the PICU. My mom was like picking up her work bag and just like little things she had brought to the hospital, and she said, I love you and I'll see you tomorrow. And I never saw her again. I remember that my mom was on this phone call, and the person who she was speaking to, a person at the hospital, I'm not sure what role they had, but they claimed that I never asked to speak to my mom. I was doing fine. I was okay in my room. I hadn't had any questions about why my parents weren't allowed to see me. And that infuriated me so much because all I did for days on end was demand to speak to my parents. That's all I wanted to do. And I most certainly wasn't just sitting in my room. I was crying. And
During this period of time, what, if anything, made you suspicious, and what were you suspicious of?
it was normally the comments that they made or the restrictions that they placed on me and not the other kids. Again, they never directly told me what was going on, even though I asked. So I had to figure it out for myself, and it did take time until I had a general understanding of what was taking place.
And what was taking place, Maya?
I was stripped from my family.
They did not want you to go back to your family?
No.
And was this told to you in some form by Miss Beatty?
She made a lot of comments, especially about my mom. She was the one who came up with the mental institution comment. She told me that they were discussing in court the idea of foster care and placing me in a home. She cautioned me, this is word from word what she said, foster care is nothing like it is in the movies. She said that, and then after saying that, she suggested that she take me in and she would be my foster parent.
Okay, I want you to listen to Dr. Sally Smith now. Her role, she's part of the child protection team of Pinellas County, but I think it was, part of the problem in this whole case was it wasn't very clear who worked for who, and it seemed like the child protection team was kind of in bed with the folks at the hospital, and there was like this meshing together rather than separate entities evaluating a case. Take a listen.
So were you or were you not advising the treatment team, as part of the treatment team, to take Maya Kowalski off of all of these medications?
I was assisting them from the standpoint of the medical child protection team, medical child abuse realm. And as the reply makes it clear, they were already doing it, and I didn't even know they were. So certainly wasn't directing that process. It was my conclusion that there was what we call positive findings for medical child abuse, and that the medical record review and the history taking and that kind of thing that I had reviewed provided very strong evidence to support that conclusion.
You know there wasn't a single child psychologist or child psychiatrist that diagnosed what you were claiming. You're aware of that, right?
That's also irrelevant. I don't need a psychiatric degree to assess medical child abuse. I'm very well trained to evaluate medical child abuse based on my child abuse pediatrics experience and board certification.
Well, there's not a single child psychologist or psychiatrist that agreed with you. You do realize that, don't you?
No, I don't.
Let's bring in our think tank. Live in studio with me, criminal defense attorney, former assistant state attorney in Miami-Dade County, and former assistant DA. I almost did it in one breath. In Atlanta, Daryl Cohen. Also with us, criminal defense attorney, law professor Meg Strickler, and family law attorney and law professor, the man behind the other glasses, Randy Kessler. All right. So obviously there's two sides to this. The jury saw it one way. Now the appellate court just throws out that whole trial is gone. Will it be any different at a retrial?
This is one of those cases where whatever happens is right, whatever happens is wrong. Both sides were trying to do, in their opinion, the right thing. I believe that if the entire case is retried on the limited issues that it can be retried on, and if all of the facts come out, a jury could very easily do the same thing or something different. Cases, we forget this sometimes. It depends on how you testify. Do you smile when you testify? What is your body language?
Dr. Sally Smith did not smile.
Actually, she did. She did. In the very beginning, she had a smirk on her face.
A little bit in the beginning.
Then she got defensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very defensive. The other part of the testimony in the first trial that really struck me was that, like, they were saying, so I know what's going on. I know what this is. And there was no discussion of this CRPS. They had a diagnosis. The mother had a diagnosis from another doctor, but it was irrelevant to her. It was irrelevant to everything, and they just took the child away.
Well, and also, juries are Americans, right? They're normal lay people. And there's this bias, I think. Doctors don't always know it all. And they fed right into that, not we could have been wrong, we might have missed something. It was a us versus them, and that's a losing proposition. I think Daryl's right. Some cases are about the law. This one's about the facts. Whatever the law is, whatever they can't go forward on this claim or that claim or that. As long as they can go forward and talk about what happened and have Maya testify, the jury's heartstrings are still going to be pulled, and they're still going to want to award some money.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they're still going to feel like it wasn't right. What happened, isn't that ultimately the job of the jury?
Exactly, and they're going to listen to her, and she really comes off as a genuine witness, where the doctor did not. She came off as defensive. She did not sound expert. She didn't look expert in what she was speaking about, because she was just like, this is the way it is. And that wasn't being human.
Right. The lesson here is, to the hospital, don't go to another trial. You don't, even if it's no matter what the verdict is, you don't need any more negative publicity. You need to focus on what you do. It's got to be resolved behind the scenes.
It's all coming out of their pockets, though. Like, this money's coming out of their pockets,
but it's
right?
not coming out of the insurance company's pockets, whoever the insurers of the hospital. In my view.
Yeah.
I think, though, that if the hospital, if this definitely goes back to trial, if the hospital humanizes themselves just a little bit and say, we did the best we could with what we had, we did not want to hurt anyone, I think that's what they have to do.
And a lot more evidence of all the good they do. There are some, honest to goodness, bad people and bad abusers.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's some medical,
But isn't there, to me, there seems to be some obligation to have an open mind.
Yes.
Like, they villainized the mother like this. As soon as they heard the word ketamine, it was over.
And that's how it comes off in the testimony.
Exactly.
And that's bad.
Well, but it may not be bad if they cast it in the right way. If moms actually wanted to put Maya on hospice, and she was going to give her up and say she's dead, if the hospital can convey that in some way in the testimony that takes place, they're going to have a much better platform. But all of this depends on the facts and how it's delivered.
So if you have doctors who disagree about what's wrong with the child, right? Should the child be ripped away from the family?
No.
That's, I think, what the jury was dealing with here.
But that shouldn't be the story. The hospital story has to be, we saved this girl's life.
Yeah.
That's what we want to convey.
Yeah.
They've got to talk about that. They've got to say we're sorry about
whatever. But the girl's here, and she's going to tell a different story. How can you?
But
Exactly.
She's not a doctor.
She's alive as a result of what the hospital did.
Yeah, they can come in.
But she was old enough at the time to understand the pain that she was in and to describe the pain that she was in.
She did an amazing job. She did an amazing job the entire trial. I remember watching it and just thinking, what an amazing young woman to do this.
So I said the hospital has risk and they should maybe think about settling it. So should the plaintiffs, right? They now know. The hospital's been through it. They now know what's coming. They know how to prepare. They've got great lawyers. Both sides have a reason to bring this to a conclusion privately.
Amen.
I think that's what's going to happen.
But there is a track record, right? This wasn't a mock trial. This was an actual trial with people from that county, I think it's Pinellas County, from that part of Florida, who said 260 million last time. Next time it could be higher, could be lower. I mean, there is a lot of risk for the hospital. There's a lot at the other side for the plaintiffs, but they haven't seen a dime.
And there's a lot of time, right? But you get a verdict and there's an appeal.
Right.
Plaintiffs don't get paid until every appeal is exhausted. You want it closed, you want the money to go to some good use.
All right.
Make a deal.
We've got to go. Give me a number.
100.
100 million. I like that too. Yes.
37.5.
37.5.
Oh, that's too low.
They're staying with us. When we come back,
37.
This story, very troubling. First grader shoots a teacher. Now the teacher's involved in a civil suit against the assistant principal. We'll explain.
A teacher is suing an assistant principal for $40 million. The lawsuit stems from January 6, 2023, when Abby Zwerner was shot by a 6-year-old student while at Rich Neck Elementary School.
Not only do I have the physical challenges that I do now, my emotional challenges or, mental challenges are a lot.
A bullet passed through Zwerner's hand and went into her chest, causing a collapsed lung. A grand jury investigation found that the school's assistant principal Ebony Parker did not take any action on the day of the shooting, even after being warned 3 separate times that the boy had a gun. She allegedly did not allow the boy to be searched. In a separate criminal case, Parker was charged with 8 counts of child neglect, 1 count for each of the 8 bullets that the shooter had in the classroom.
I truly believe that the proper protocol was not followed entirely on the school's end that day.
If they had taken action, would you have been shot?
Most likely, probably no. Honestly, no.
Criminal investigators also found that the shooter had a history of violent behavior at school and that his school file was missing.
The report lays out a concerning trail of evidence that apparently shows efforts by the school division to downplay disciplinary records prior to the shooting even taking place, and then hide them afterwards.
The 6-year-old boy was not charged, but his mother was charged with child neglect, illegally obtaining and recklessly leaving a firearm, endangering a child. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to serve 2 years in prison. In this civil case, the Newport News School Division previously argued that Zwerner's injuries could be covered under workers' compensation, but that argument was dismissed. If Parker is found to be negligent, the judgment is expected to be paid by a statewide insurance pool.
Ultimately, the jury's going to decide what happens here, and we're excited to be able to bring this case to light and allow them to make that decision.
I'm going to show you something pretty graphic now. This is the body camera video of the responding workers, these responding officers and medical workers coming to the school after the shooting. Remember, she survived. You just saw her speaking. Let's take a look.
You got a spell and I'm getting you don't need her out. Fantastic. They got 5 options right here.
There's a bullet in her hand and a bullet pushing her shoulder. Okay. And it's nothing on the other side. Okay. And it didn't come out her hand either. It's in her hand. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to take care of her, okay? And then it's her on the way in.
Around the corner, okay?
We need to look to see, did it exit? No. How many times was she shot? How many gunshots did you hear? One.
Gunshot, okay?
Sorry, ma'am. We're going to get up close and personal with you, okay? Please.
You're okay.
She's not actively bleeding right now.
Nothing on the lower.
Okay. I'm going to roll you over a little bit, okay? I want to see if you're clean out. Okay. Go ahead and lift your arm a little bit. Okay. I have Ms. Moms. Are you in pain anywhere else?
Yep.
804.
Yep.
Tell me your mom's number. You want Ms. Moms? Yeah. 8.
What's your name?
Abby.
Can't imagine what's going through your mind. You've just been shot by a 6-year-old. You're a teacher. All you want to do is teach young kids. Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight here in studio, Daryl Cohen, Meg Strickler, Randy Custer still with us. I want to put one more piece of evidence in front of you, okay? This is Amy Kovacs. She's a reading specialist, one of the other teachers. And I think this is an important part of this case. Let's take a listen.
What do you tell Dr. Parker at this time?
So again, I tell her that I went and checked the bag. I told her just what I said to you all, what was in the bag. And then I also tell her that Abby texted me that they were out at recess, that he took something from the bag and he put it in his pocket.
Did you tell her you thought it could be a gun?
I mean, I told her that I reported that it was a gun. I mean, the whole time I assumed she thought it was a gun because that's what the girls reported, and I went and reported to her.
And what did she say in response to you when you said he put it in his pocket?
She did say that, you know, well, he has little pockets, and I said he put it in his jacket pocket. And I was kind of mad you know, and I walked away.
Wow.
That's just
How often do you get something like that where you could actually prevent a crime, right? Somebody saw something and said something. I mean, that's...
They did nothing.
And did nothing in a school. With all of the school shootings we have.
With all the kids that are there and the teachers and everyone else.
But let's look at something good. She was shot in the hand. She wasn't killed, and she deserves compensation. Does she deserve it from the assistant principal? I don't know. They should have followed protocol more carefully. But do you expect a 6-year-old to shoot, to have a weapon? The answer is only by accident. But that's not what happened.
But he had once you knew he had a gun.
It's an accident waiting to happen.
It's an accident waiting to happen.
How do you not investigate a report of a child with a gun?
I can't.
How do you not investigate it? Like, would it be, it's too much of a bother? Like, I don't understand the mentality.
I think it's too much of a stretch. A 6-year-old with a gun? No, didn't happen.
Oh, baloney.
But that's talking about it here. But if your job is to take care of children, that's what you're vested with. I send my kid to school knowing the people there are going to be aware and sensitive that, God forbid, an accident like this happens, they're going to prevent it.
That is their job. We all have children. We've had them go through their schools. We know what happens. The principal's job is that's what's written in their job description.
I am just shocked and like floored by this because it's you know, it's one thing if a child pulls and everyone is surprised with no knowledge of it, but where people are talking about it, communicating about it, reporting it, and you are the assistant principal, like this is it. Job number one, keep everybody safe.
And this is not new in America, unfortunately. I wish it was. I wish the defense was, we've never seen anything like this. A shooting at a school, who could have imagined? But unfortunately, everyone should imagine that.
I just don't think we should come down as hard as we are on the assistant principal.
No, I
should have done more.
She blew it off. She blew it off.
I don't know if she blew it off. We didn't hear all of that testimony.
She blew it off, and I would have liked to have seen an overreaction. I think that's so much more appropriate. And
I have covered stories where children have been suspended for doing this, playing cops and robbers, like suspended. That's where we are, right?
Unfortunately.
And here, a report of an actual gun does not lead to a very quick investigation.
It needs to be.
It's the danger is not only to every teacher there, the danger is to the child himself, the danger is to every other child in that school. If I was a parent of any child in that school and I heard that testimony, I'd be like, what is going on here?
Out my children go. I'm not putting my kid in that school ever again. Are you kidding me?
This is, to me, this is borderline criminal.
But you also have to, Daryl's not giving it up.
You lose, Daryl.
I think that she did not exercise the type of care she should have exercised. But on the other hand, a 6-year-old is not a 10, is not a 12-year-old. And she probably, in her own mind, thought, oh, really? Seriously?
Yes.
Well, what she said was his pockets are too small.
Right.
There's no way he has a gun.
That's why we have civil lawsuits so that people say, you know what? Even if I don't think that there's a gun, I don't want to be sued. You know, this is going to send a message. Hope broadly. I'm sure every school is now looking at this and saying,
we have lockdowns for every potential threat that is out there, whether it's far-fetched or it's real, right? We're seeing all these fake ones that have taken place across college campuses because everyone understands it. Why this woman didn't understand it? Why the alarm doesn't go off in her head? Oh, there's a report of someone saying that this child has a gun. Like, it's very possible. It's very possible because you're allowed to own guns. Families are allowed to own guns, and some families are responsible and some families are not responsible. This was a mother who was not responsible. She's paying the price. This is an assistant principal not doing her job.
And what's the harm? I'm going to go check little Johnny's pockets and, you know, there's nothing there? Okay, go ahead, have a good recess, Johnny. I mean,
it's
there's
so
no
easy
harm.
for us to say this now that it's over. It happened in the split second almost. Should she have done more, in my view? Absolutely. Should she be on the hook for millions of dollars or people paying it? No, in my view. I think no, absolutely
But should
not.
there be exposure so that every other teacher in America sees this and says, boy, if I ever was thinking maybe it didn't happen or maybe it did, I'm going to err on the side of I'm going to check it out.
I agree with that.
Well, you go back to the case that we covered, the Oxford school shooter, where, again, he had a gun in his backpack. No one said he had a gun, but he was drawing all these pictures and doing everything. And again, the people in charge, the administrators, the teachers do everything they're supposed to. The administrators do nothing.
I'd rather
You know
they
why?
overreact.
Because it's going to make their school look bad.
Yeah, but I'd rather they
If they
overreact.
find the gun, it makes their school look bad.
Yeah,
This makes it look worse.
You
Looks
shoot
a
a
lot
teacher.
worse now. All right. Thank you so much, Daryl Cohen, Meg Strickler, Randy Kessler. When we return, I will reveal something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour. He swore an oath to protect and serve, but tonight he's the one accused of pulling the trigger. What fueled the deadly courthouse confrontation between a Kentucky sheriff and a local judge?
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates. Tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
6-year-old shot his teacher.
Their side battling that it is part of the job, just outrageous.
The first grader shoots teacher civil trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 8/7 Central on Court TV.
Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at our big board. And tonight, sentencing. This is such a heartbreaking case. 4-year-old Sunny Bell shot and killed in a drive-by. 5 men sentenced to life in prison for her murder. And today, during the impact statements, amazing grace shown by her family. Her uncle, her mom, and her grandma all spoke. Let's take a listen.
This right here is sad all the way around. Ain't nothing good about this right here coming around, right? We have to come down here, man. And 2 of these kids, man, I know their parents didn't raise them like that. That's the sad part. It's just that we getting out of these guns, man. We getting out of control with this, man. Y'all got 20 or 25 years or whatever to think about this. Tell y'all friends, man, to put these damn guns down. We don't know what the f you're shooting at. Because you're shooting at family members, man. You're destroying families, brothers. Ain't nothing good about this right here. Go up there, get your education, man. If you ain't got it, learn something. Get a trade, man. Come back into society and be somebody, man. You got a chance to do this right here.
Guess what? Your parents, your family could go sign in and see y'all every day. Guess what we got to do? We have to wait till Judgment Day to see my grandbaby. We have to wait till God call us home to see her again. She comes to us, okay, she'll come in our dreams. We'll visualize her. We see her on cardboards, pictures and stuff like that. But guess what? Your family get to still come in the jailhouse and see y'all, hug y'all, touch y'all.
I just pray for you guys. I just hope, like, everything be good up there. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's just hard to explain to y'all. Like, I'm very hurt. I was hurt when it happened when I was in that car. Like, I know you guys probably did not mean to do it, but the outcome, it did happen. Like, Tree, like, I grew up with you. Like, I feel for you. Like, my heart goes out to all of y'all. And we'll be praying for y'all.
Another tough day for the family of little Sunny Bell. Okay, take a look at your screens. We have a child who needs your help tonight. He's 17 years old. His name is Dakota Washburn, missing out of Urbana, Illinois since October 14th. If you see Dakota, pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference. You can call 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Urbana, Illinois Police Department. That phone number is on your screen right now. Let's see if we can get Dakota to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere, folks. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.